destroying a child's confidence and self-esteem, especially when it pertains to education and academics, is easy to do. So let's make sure that you don't do these things. Okay, so here we go. So the first one is weighing their progress against siblings older or younger than themselves. So a lot of times as parents, we do this all the time. I do this myself. I'm guilty of doing so, where I say to them, well, your brother was reading at this age, or your brother got this in this test, or your brother loves mathematics. Why don't you? Your brother was doing so much better. Your brother was having feedback from the teachers, and so on and so forth. We do this all the time, but we do it without actually thinking about the repercussions of our actions and our words. Now, if we do this consistently, it can negatively impact your child's want to continue their educational journey, and it also can destroy their confidence and self-esteem, because in the back of their mind they're always thinking, well, do you know what, my brother did better, do you know what, my sister could do better than me, do you know what, I'm not that good. And when they subconsciously think that all the time, then why should they try? There's no point, because they know subconsciously that mom or dad, uncle, auntie, whoever doesn't actually believe in them. So don't, or try your best not to weigh your child's progress up against their siblings, because it can surely and will destroy their confidence and self-esteem, especially when it pertains to education and academics. Now, another one is setting high expectations, or sometimes expectations that are actually too low. So in terms of high expectations, expecting them to come out with top grades all the time in all subjects. All children do not thrive academically. We have really sporty children, they can be musicians, they can be artists, anything. Just because education in this country, in England, is sort of really thought about quite highly, and sometimes as parents we want our children to do the best in all subjects. So here's one thing: usually children don't do well in all subjects. Usually if they do really well in mathematics, sometimes they don't do as well in English. Sometimes if they do really well in art and design, or those creative subjects like drama, they won't do as well in maths. This is just the way it is, and we have to realise that our children possibly won't get 100%, or won't do super well in every single subject. So when they do well in certain subjects, congratulate them. Don't forget to take the time to let them know that you are happy with their progress and happy about who they are and where they are right now at this very moment in time. Sometimes we actually set expectations that are actually too low. We actually don't expect too much of them, and this again can actually damage their confidence and self-esteem. Just saying to them, oh well, don't worry about that test, I didn't really expect you to get much anyway. Don't say that. It's not a great way to help them to progress in life. We want them to feel confident about themselves. So saying things like, just do your very best, I'm proud of you anyway. This will really support them to actually do their very best across the board. So make sure that you take the time to let them know that you are proud of them, whatever the outcome, as long as they know that they try their very best and put the work in, put the work and the effort in, and you as a parent, you are proud of them. Remember to tell them that. Sometimes their best isn't as best as we would like for them, and that's okay. We must not try to push or try to enforce what we want for them upon them, because they are their own little human beings, and we are our own human beings, and we will come out with different things at different times. So try your best, verbally and non-verbally, not to try to push them into what we want for them as parents. They have to be given the time to find themselves and find out what works for them. And when it comes to completing homework and completing assignments, we need to ensure that they have a space where they're comfortable to do so. So this might mean a little table in their bedroom, or a little table in your office, maybe somewhere downstairs in the living room, where they can actually quietly complete and send off their assignments or do their homework, or something like that, somewhere where they can actually sit quietly and they know that that space is for them to do their homework, to do a little bit of extra learning. If they don't have the space, if they don't feel comfortable doing so by themselves independently, where they can get away from possibly their siblings, where they can get away from us, without us looking over their shoulder, have you completed that yet? And have you done that yet? How long is it going to take now? They need that space and that time to find the time and the space for them to complete these things. If we're always consistently looking over their shoulder, it can make them a little bit anxious in terms of completing homework and reading that book maybe by themselves, and confidently doing what they need to do in their own time as well. And sometimes, as parents, I'm going to be honest, and sometimes, when it comes to education, because I am an educator, I want my children to do the best. I know that they can do really well, but we must not force this upon them. And sometimes we don't give them time, because of the pressures of education in its entirety. We don't give them the time and the space to find out what their actual passion is. Their passion might not be the best mathematician in the world. It might not be becoming a doctor. It might not have anything to do with academics. It may be, as I said in the start, it may be becoming, a creator or a YouTuber, or I don't know, anything with that doesn't sort of rely on, or it's heavily weighted upon educational grades. So they not only need their space and time to continue their education independently, but they also need space and time to find their passion. If they want to become a footballer, they've got to have time to do football, to practice football. If they want to be an artist, they've got to have time to do art. So it's for us as parents to bring in the resources from a very young age, to give them the time to trial different things, to see what works for them, to maybe go to a few clubs. And I know that it may take, when it comes to clubs, there's that monetary needs as well, but it's just, that is the way it is. Children can be quite expensive. So we need to give them time to find their passion and what works for them. And this may not be anything linked to academia as well. We've got to give them that time to find what works for them, because this will raise their confidence, this will raise their self-esteem, and they will realise that, what I want to do for myself really matters to my mum and dad. So giving them that space to find out what works for them will really, really help as well. And sometimes as parents, the lack of guidance, the lack of boundaries, the lack of giving them that time, or giving them the sense that your education does matter. So it's finding that line between giving them some boundaries. I expect you to do your homework on time, I expect you to hand it in, but on the flip side, I also want to give you some time for yourself. I want you to have some time to find your passion. And I try my best to give my children, don't laugh at this, I try to give them time to be bored. Because when your child is bored, it is in those specific moments where ideas start to spring to mind. Maybe I could try drawing for a while. I'm a little bit bored. Maybe I could try and write a book. I'm a little bit bored. Let me go and play football. Let me go and play basketball or badminton. It's in the moments of boredness where their true self comes out. The children can get overwhelmed and overloaded with so much to do that they don't have the space and the time to find out their true meaning in life. So give them time to find themselves, but yet set some boundaries as well. I expect the homework to be finished. I expect good and neat handwriting. I expect it to be clean and tidy. Don't eat a pizza while you're doing your homework. It's going to get dirty. Don't give them dirty homework. Sort of boundaries like this, just small ones, so your child has expectations and they acknowledge that you care about their education and academic journey, but aren't overwhelming them with so much that they don't actually have time to find out what works for them as well. And the last thing that I'm going to give a tip on is, sometimes as parents, we know that our children can do so well. Usually we can see a version of them that hasn't yet come into fruition, and sometimes our children need a little bit of support in getting to their end goal. And especially when it comes to sort of grades and things like that. For example, if we know that they're having trouble in their spellings or their reading or their writing or their maths or their science, and we let the issue continue through to secondary school, we let the issue continue through to GCSEs, we let the issue continue when we know that there was a little bit of problem, just with a little bit of support, they could have got those grades. So sometimes we have to stop and think, right, where is my child now? Where do they want to go? And that's that special word, where do they want to go? Not where do we want them to go, where do they want to go? And what help and support can we, as parents, what can we do to support them? Now, this may be getting them a tutor. It may be looking online for some extra activities. It may be getting them into a club or something like that. Something that will support them upon their journey to get where they need to get to. Now, we need to be aware that our words, our thoughts, the look, it can actually destroy their confidence and self-esteem. And sometimes it doesn't need to be something verbally that we said, but it can be something physical. It can be the change in our mood when they don't get a great grade. It can be all of these things that do and will have an impact upon our children's education, because at the end of the day, why should our children try if they don't have people that truly believe in them? So try your best to make sure that you are improving their confidence, their self-esteem, even if it's not academics, even if you see that they're not someone that's going to thrive educationally or thrive academically. As long as they are trying their very best, it's up to us to show them that we believe in them and that we're going to support them along the way. It's Cordelia, the primary educator. I hope that helps, and I will see you on the next one.